What up, Dokkaners? So today I wanted to go over some tips and tricks for you guys to maybe be able to tackle the Festival of Battles event. I wanted to wait until I was able to do the event a little bit more. And so now that I've been able to complete it both once with items and once without items, I feel like I'm now qualified to give my opinions on certain things you guys want to consider when jumping into this event. I do want to just start off by telling you that what I'm about to tell you is what I think is going to be effective, but this is not going to be the only way to approach it. There will be other ways that can get the job done, but this is what I think are some of the most effective ways to approach it. So let's just jump in. For my no item run, this is the team that I use, so I'm sure some of you guys are right away going to say, how do you win? By having max links, by having rainbow, by being a whale, and all that stuff. Yes, that is one aspect of it. However, it is not the only way to do it. There are people out there who have been able to complete this no item without rainbow characters. When I first did the event, the very first time that I did it on that 8-hour live stream, I was in full-on panic mode. I could not handle the event. The stress was killing me, and I thought you can't win unless you have rainbow everything. But turns out, now that I've had some time to decompress, go back in a second time, I understand that there's a little bit more nuance to it. So don't be intimidated by the fact that I cleared this with a rainbow team and other people have as well. You can do this with lesser teams. Also, before we jump in, I want to point out something very useful, and that is the popular team feature. So if you go to the event, this is a new update that I don't know if people are still aware of. So if you go to, let's say Festival of Battles, right? We're going to jump in with this team. But if you want to see how other people are doing it, if you click on the pink button right here, Stage Clear Info, it'll show you popular teams, and it'll show you what your friends are up to. It'll also show you what guests are up to. So this can also help you get an idea for other teams that are getting the job done. The most popular team is the one that I used, which is this squad up here. But if you scroll down, Tech Gogeta was on the squad. You've got Scouter Vegeta. You've got Frieza. What? STR? Whoa! My boy Royal Blue Vegeta made it! It's probably with items. It's got to be with items. You've got even Super Saiyan 2 into Majin Vegeta. You've got GT Super Saiyan Vegeta. So as people are now starting to understand the event more and more, some of the extra characters are starting to make their way in. So far, the blueprint does stand as you have to bring the 7th anniversary units, you have to bring the 10th anniversary units. Without those, it's probably not possible. But that's because the event came out right now. As with any major event that releases, initially, your options are very limited. But then as Dokkan releases more characters, more celebrations, more things come through the pipeline, the options start to expand. Case in point, Cell Max. When the Cell Max event first came out, it was the end of all times. Nobody could win. It was impossible. Game over. And then slowly but surely, more characters entered the fray. It became more manageable. The Broly Red Zone event for the 7th anniversary, same exact deal. So like those situations, this is no different. The event right now is fresh, so it seems impossible. But as newer characters show up, this will open the opportunities for more characters, more combinations, more strategies to help you do it. So when it comes to my first tip for this, just remember, wait for stronger units. There is no rush. You don't have to do this right away. If you are trying to do this right away, just know the wiggle room is less. The higher your hidden potential, the more wiggle room you have. I should also point that out. So like I said, if you're rainbowed out max links, then you can probably get away with a couple of turns where you don't stack as much as other teams might. So if you've got a full 55% team, you probably cannot get away with 0 wasted stacking potential, right? So if there's a character who offers you a 3-turn fight, you might want to capitalize on all 3 turns, all 9 slots, all 3 characters on all 3 turns doing their respective stacking. Whereas a character or a team like mine could probably get by with only 1 turn of stacking on each of those fights. You get what I mean? I'm asking you as if you can answer me. Also, getting to stage 25 is easier. So keep in mind, when you're trying to tackle this event, what exactly are you trying to do? Are you doing this for Dragon Stones, or are you doing this for glory? For Dragon Stones, stage 25 is all that you have to worry about, which is halfway through the battle, up to Pycon. That is far more manageable and far less of a hassle and far less of a mentally stressing event than it would be to go for the gold, to go for the glory and get all the way to stage 50. They did this specifically to cater to those who want the challenge without alienating those players who just want to get the missions done and get out. A common complaint with certain challenging events is that, oh, great, an impossible mission for me to do, I can't get those dragon stones. That's not fair, right? But now you're not getting any dragon stones. Actually, I think you're getting 1 dragon stone for clearing all 50 stages. But besides that, you're just getting titles. So you're really just doing it for the love of the game. So if you care enough, you could do it. But if you don't care about doing this for more than stones, stop at stage 25. Not a big deal. The next thing, and I think this is incredibly useful, everyone needs to understand how to access this. Dokkan Info battle stats. One of your best friends ever is going to be the Dokkan Info battle stats. This is incredibly useful. So if you click on the Dokkan Info link in the description down below, it's going to take you to this page right here. Simply go to events, click on challenge, and it's going to show you all of these different events. You're going to scroll down to the bottom and you're going to find Challenge the Limits Festival of Battles. When you click here, you'll see this page with a bigger version of the event art. You've got the level 1 Challenge the Limits right here. You click on this and it will take you to a full breakdown of the entire fight. You can see exactly how much health they have, how much attack, how much defense, their damage reduction, their likelihood to attack, what the cooldown is between attacks. Everything that you need to know about the character is in here. Dokkan has made significant strides to make the events more accessible in terms of getting more information, but it still hasn't given us the entire picture. So in the actual event, you could still do this without knowing all of these things, but going the extra mile and getting all this extra info can help you. It makes a tremendous difference because as we scroll further and further down, you can see that the health is going up, but then also in certain situations, the damage reduction goes up like crazy. Maybe UI is dodging all of your attacks. What's going on? Turns out his dodge chance is 10%. Why exactly does this guy why does this guy take so much health or so many attacks before he goes down? Well, it's probably because he's got almost 1 billion freaking health. Stage 48, Daima Goku and Glorio both have 800 million health. That's a lot of health. When you get to the final 2 stages, they're at 2 billion health. Also, every single super attack in this game, in this event, I should say, does not have an attack boosting or stat boosting effect, if I'm not mistaken, except for the Gogeta in the 49th phase. He greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes mega colossal damage, which gives him a 50% attack boost. That sort of information is not given to you in the game, and that can be a very crucial detail that could cost you the entire run. So knowing this sort of stuff is going to be very beneficial when attempting this event, especially for the glory titles, right? You're trying to go for stage 50. All of these pieces of info are going to help you. Going up to stage 25, I don't think you need this, honestly, and you could probably just go through it without it because the maximum health is 140 million, damage reduction, like all of this stuff is pretty par for the course when it comes to Dokkan challenges. But beyond that, you're going to want to use this. So that's why I think that this is a very useful tactic. I use it all the time for this event. The next thing, and make no mistake, this is part of the game. People do this all the time, where they try to do certain things, but then they change their mind and they reset. Utilize every ability at your disposal. Most of you, if not all of you, should at this point have a copy of the LR Tech Vegito, the Goku plus Vegeta into Vegito. This unit, after a certain amount of turns, has the ability to transform into Potara. When you transform into Potara, you can scout all attacks. If you need to, you are 5 hours into this event. You have invested so much time, energy, and mental stress into this event, and you just simply don't want to screw up. Using the Vegito sneak peek is not a bad idea. Transform into the Vegito, see where the attacks are located, where the super attack is happening, allow yourself the ability to adjust accordingly, reset the game, and then go back in. That is not something that you should be afraid to use. If you've got it, use it. Because right now, your number 1 goal is to beat the event. If you want to challenge yourself after the fact and do this without that, that can be something that you want to arrange for yourself, sure. But to beat the event for the first time, I think you should definitely not be afraid to take advantage of this. Stack, stack, stack. When it comes to stacking, that is the name of the game. This event was tailor-made for stacking type units, which is insane because now this is completely blown up any conventions in the tier list meta over the last few months, maybe even years, because characters who you would quickly write off as just mere stackers are now suddenly a heck of a lot more viable, relevant, useful for this event. Stacking is the name of the game. You want to be stacking as much as possible. There are not too many characters that can go through this event as of right now, as of middle of March 2025, that can go through this event without being someone that relies on permanent stacking. So like I said, right now, the 10th anniversary LRs, the 7th anniversary LRs are kind of a must. The only two flex spots could probably be these two right here, the AGL Super Saiyan 3 and the Int Super Saiyan Goku, but both of them are stackers. They're all stackers. And so with a bunch of stackers comes the question of, okay, who do I prioritize? The way that I look at it, those characters who stack once with each super need more stacking. Those who stack greatly, aka stack multiple times in one instance, don't need to be around as often. That's sort of an oversimplification of how I approach this. Meaning, at the end of the day, when I'm in my, when I'm in the grind, I'm doing the whole stretch where I'm trying to get from, phase 1 to phase 44, where things start to get a little spicy. All throughout that, I am mainly prioritizing the Vegeta, the Goku, and the AGL Super Saiyan 4 primarily on the main rotations. I am benching the gods, the Super Saiyan 4s, and the Super Saiyan Goku. Why? Because they get to achieve basically double the stacking in one instance as opposed to a single stack for these other guys. That's kind of how I look at it. And that might be an oversimplification, but that's how I approach this event. Don't transform the 7th anniversary LRs right away. So we're kind of going into the specifics here. So as of right now, like I said, these characters are the hot ones. So don't transform the 7-year LRs right away. I did this my first run of the event. On turn 7, I transformed both the gods and the Super Saiyan 4s. And I quickly found out that they age out pretty fast. So if you continue to transform them, in spite of the fact that they lose the extra stats, in spite of the fact that they lose their guard, they will make up for all of that and then some throughout the events. And they will become so much more powerful and so much more pivotal to get you through the event as of right now. Both of the 7-year LRs can do that for you. I recommend around phase 46 or beyond. The longer you can hold off, the better. But keep in mind, when it comes to this event, it's all about getting these fights done within a certain amount of turns. So this was a huge shout out to Onizuka on Twitter, who created this little graphic here. This is basically this Dokkan Info page, but broadened out just to show the placement of the characters. Because I noticed that when I was doing the event, I was kind of losing a sense of time, placement. I just didn't know where I was. I constantly had to ask the chat to reassure me where I was. This helps with that. But just to step things up a notch a little bit further, I went ahead and I did this. So from phases 1 to 15, you have 3 charges, which means 3 units get to obtain orbs. That's 1 turn. From phase 16 to 40, you have 6 charges, aka 2 turns to beat all of these enemies. From 41 to 48, you have 9 charges, aka 3 turns. And then 49 and 50, you have 12 charges each, aka 4 turns. You don't have to use all of them, but in most situations, it would be recommended that you do take the most amount of time possible. So that way you can maximize your stacking, you can maximize your Dokkan gauge reuse. You will be using the Dokkan attack several times during this entire event. So not transforming early is good. Around phase 46 is at the earliest, which is around like Tech UI. So you might even have to on phase 45 transform the 7-year LRs. That's, around this area I think should be fine. But again, the longer you hold off, the better. Optimize each charge window. Forego a 7-year 20 key and instead go for a 12 key super so that slots 2 and 3 can contribute. I would recommend you guys check out some of my runs, some of the early phases on my first run through and some of my early phases on my no item run, because there's a vast difference in terms of my approach, my experience level. But early on, when I was doing my initial run through on this event, I found myself using the 7th anniversary LRs in slot 1. And for 5 or 6 runs, actually maybe even more, 5 or 6 phases, they would solo the fight and they would be the only ones to stack. So the 10th anniversary LRs would get nothing. The LR in Super Saiyan Goku would get nothing. It would just be these two starring the show for the first 7 turns. And that was, It worked for my strategy to get to where I did, and then I lost because Tech Goku didn't build up enough defense and he ate a super attack from Fat Boo. So it actually did kind of come back to bite me. So if it means not letting your 7th anniversary unit launch multiple supers on the first turn, so be it. It's fine. Because again, we're not trying to capitalize on the amount of stacking that we do within 7 turns. These guys are in it for the long haul. And that was part of the issue for me. I had to break my default programming when it comes to using these characters, because normally when you use the 7th anniversary LRs, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get them to stack as much as you can by turn 7 before they lose their extra stats, and then you transform, right? Here, it's all different. You don't have to worry about that stuff. So optimizing each charge window basically means if you have 6 charges, aka 2 turns to do all the damage to take out an opponent, try to use it. Try to take advantage of it, even if it means 1 extra turn where the enemy has half a bar of health left, which only allows for 1 character to get an extra stack. That extra stack could save your life. Every little bit helps. Take advantage of all of it. Plus, the longer you take to clear these fights, the more likely you can get an extra Dokkan attack along the way. On average, I'm getting 3 Dokkan attacks, I think, during my runs. I've only done it twice, but no, actually, I've done it 3 times because the first run was a failure. I died like on phase 45. So yeah, I'm spending about 3 full Dokkan gauges, maybe almost a 4th one. I feel like it's mainly 3. Moving on here, alternate attack and defense stacking. This is a question I'm asked a lot. Toon, which one do you prioritize? Attack stacking first or defense stacking? Early on, the enemies don't hit very hard, so maybe you can get away with not having much defense. On the flip side, if you stack defense early, then you will be much more secure later on, and you have less of a risk of getting destroyed by a stronger attack as you get to the higher and higher levels. The way that I am able to simplify it is to merely switch between attack and defense. If a unit is not able to stack both, which is what the 10th anniversary units do, when they're in attack mode, so this is, I know I'm kind of throwing in some Yu-Gi-Oh jargon here, but just work with me. When Vegeta is in attack mode, he stacks attack. When he's in defense mode, he's Goku when he stacks defense. They still stack the other stat, but it's only temporary. So for all intents and purposes, AGL Vegeta is attack mode, AGL Goku is defense mode. So what I would do on a rotation would be have AGL Vegeta in slot 2, and I would have like Tech Vegeta in slot 1. Tech Vegeta would be my defense mode. And on the next rotation, I would switch them around, and I would have Tech Vegeta turn into Super Saiyan Goku, so that's the attack mode. I would switch AGL Vegeta into AGL Goku, the defense mode. I would swap them back around. And so for all of these different phases, I am just constantly swapping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. When I got to Fat Boo, which is the fight that really did the most amount of mental damage to me, I had both of my Tech Vegetas, my Tech Vegito units, they had built up around 3.5-ish million defense before like the attack phase starts. When you're looking at their stats, that's around where I got them to where I felt comfortable. So just by merely switching back and forth, I was able to create a sense of consistency. Of course, there will be a couple of occasions where type disadvantage might not necessarily be going your way. You're a little stressed. You don't know if you want to risk it here and there. Then if that happens, try to mentally keep track. Like, you know, you're constantly going attack and defense, but if you find yourself going multiple turns with the Tech stacking more attack than the Vegeta, or the AGL stacking more defense, then try to balance that again by the following couple of turns, focusing more on the other combination, if that makes sense. But this will help you sort of keep pace and have a level of symmetry. Transform AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku GT once the 6 charge fights begin. So this is another question that I'm asked a lot with that AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku. That unit is very good because while the unit initially doesn't need to stack, it allows you to focus on the other characters who need the stacking. But once you get to a point where you have 6 charges, you can actually use his giant form transformation. The reason for this is because in this event, they deliberately designed it in such a way where the giant form, giant ape, or rage modes actually still cost you a full turn. Normally, it doesn't, but for this event, it does. So if you were to use the giant ape form for the Super Saiyan 3 Goku on one of the early phases, if you don't kill them, you lose. And this happened to a lot of people on the first day because they simply did not read that part of the directions down here. So easy solution, wait until round 16 or beyond. If you can do it on round 16, I would recommend you do it because that's the earliest opportunity for you to do it. It won't take you as much effort to clear Fusion Zamasu. The reason why I think that this is a good idea is, again, going back to what I talked about when it comes to stacking and stacking priority. When this guy transforms into Super Saiyan 4 Goku, again, this is an oversimplification. So if you don't agree with me, that's totally fine. This is just how I approach it. This unit, just like the Super Saiyan, the Tech Vegito and the AGL Vegeta, only raised their stats by 1 level, raised attack and defense. Whereas the 7th anniversary LRs raised their stats by 2, as does the Super Saiyan Goku. So I want the singular stacking units to get as many frequent stacks as possible. So that's why I'm going to have this guy stack early and often. So that way he doesn't feel the effects of the latter stages and how devastating they can be to a late bloomer. This Goku would be a late bloomer if you hold off on the transformation for that much longer. You can do it, but there's probably more risk. And I'm also approaching this from someone who has done this both with items and without items. I feel like in general, it's a good idea to transform the Super Saiyan 4 Goku early and get this guy stacking as much as possible. Plus, when you do that and you can get him stacking early in front of the action, he can get he gets infinite ki. So every time he receives a hit, he gets infinite ki, and he also gets maximum crit. This maximum crit ever stacking Super Saiyan 4 Goku can help you bridge the gap on some major health spikes as you get later on in the fights, where you feel like the enemy starts to resist more. Like you start to really feel that around phase 26 and 27. The Vegeta resists a lot of damage. The Goku and Vegeta in the GT Super Saiyans phase also resists a lot of damage. That AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku with this guaranteed crit will help you sort of push the envelope and not have you fall behind pace. That's an important thing. Sometimes that critical hitting extra hard can work against you, but that's part of the nuance of fine-tuning this stacking experience. That's the inherent challenge of this event. It's a marathon where you have to juggle 6 different stackers or 5 different stackers, whatever your team looks like, and you have to be able to manage orbs, stacking, keeping everybody on pace. That's the art form going into this. So I think that transforming the Super Saiyan 3 as soon as you hit the 6 charge portion is a good idea, which is, again, round 16. I have normally ended up doing it around I think I ended up doing it like 18, 19, but in this first row in the second phase or the second section is a good idea. Moving on to number 5. So the 10th anniversary Gogeta and the Vegito, I think they're only needed for phase 48 and onwards. And again, this is based on my experience with my teams as of March 2025. This could change, but right now, I don't think you can beat this event without them. And that too, they both need to emerge or begin to emerge starting from phase 48, which is the Daimas. The Daima's health spike is so ridiculous that it is going to hit you like a truck. I remember, you guys should go check out my short where I did a Dokkan attack where I thought I was gonna maybe do at least half the damage on these guys. I mean, at this point, we already knew we were dealing with some pretty robust characters. Like this guy right before has 900 million health. But these two both having essentially the same amount, I barely scratched them with my Dokkan attack and I lost it. So at this point, you might not have enough damage output to get the job done within 3 turns. Remember, you only have 9 charges, aka 3 turns. So if you're trying to get this done in 3 turns, one or both of the fusions might be required. So that might help you get a feel for how you want to be approaching this. Try to line up a Dokkan attack with the Daima phase on 48. This one is a little tricky, and so I wouldn't really call this like a full-on tip. This is very specific. These last 3 points are very specific. But for this one, I think that this will help because, again, most people will agree the Daima phase is probably the worst one just because there's so much that has to be done in so little time, and the odds the stakes are so high at that point that you just can't screw up. So when you get to that point, you're probably going to be close to your 3rd Dokkan attack, if not having already done so. If you're able to prepare in advance and not push the Dokkan gauge as quickly, you might be able to line up a Dokkan attack, which can help you in terms of pushing the damage and getting a more rapid completion on the Daima phase. When it comes to Dokkan gauges, if you pick up the matching orb of your character, so if my STR Beast Gohan picks up an STR orb, it's going to double the growth on the Dokkan gauge versus my STR Beast Gohan picking up a Tech Orb. So every time you use the Dokkan attack, the rate that the Dokkan gauge is increasing gets cut in half, I believe. So by the time you get to your 3rd run through, it's going to take a while, but still, if you pick up the matching orbs, it will accelerate the process. So if you can avoid that, do so. At this point, with all of your stacking, with all of your built up healing factor, you're not going to have to pick up matching orbs all the time. So it's not going to be that big a deal if you don't pick up matching orbs. Of course, you still have to deal with orb management, but again, that's a muscle you have to be able to flex on your own. Number 7, Whis, Ghost Usher, Guide Robo, Baba, Pilaf, Bulma, Nuke, Orb Changers, all good items. I haven't used all of these, but so far on paper, theoretically, all of these seem like favorable items for you guys to use on your journey. Remember, you don't have to no item this. That is a challenge in and of itself that can be done later. Your first objective is to merely clear the event. And that's what I did. I used items. I used a Whis and I used a Ghost Usher. Whis reduces damage by 40% for 2 turns. Icarus reduces damage received by 35% for 2 turns. Whis is basically a better version. King Yemma is a better version of Whis by 50% damage reduction, but it's only for 1 turn, which is why I'm not too fond of this one. But hey, if you want to use it, you could use it. Baba and Pilaf eliminate all attacks for the turn, all super attacks. So that means that you could change any super attack into just to a regular attack. This can help for characters that have counters. I don't particularly find that this is going to be as beneficial because it doesn't apply to any situation. It only applies to very conditional moments. So this one is a little bit more specific. Bulma is also a good one because Bulma can increase your attack by 25% for 5 turns. There's also another Bulma that can increase your attack and defense by 20% for 3 turns. So those types of items can be useful for those of you who might have fewer copies of these characters. You feel like your stats don't compare to Rainbow characters, Max Link characters. Perhaps you're running not exactly 220, 250% leader skills. Maybe you're running at 200. Maybe you need all the extra percentage points. So Bulma can help you sort of bridge the gap. Not all the way, but it can certainly help. And especially over 5 turns, this is going to be very useful. Guide Robo is basically the Ghost Usher, but with the added effect of the following turn, you are nerfing the enemy's attack. Some characters are immune to that, but others are not. And then down here, we have the nuking items. Now, I haven't used this yet, but in theory, this seems like a good idea. Take, for example, you're 70 turns into the fight. You've got, you know, at 5 million defense Goku, 8 million attack Goku, or something like that. You create a whole field of orbs with these nuking items that can change all of them to one type and then give you like an extra 5% attack for each one. You're going to be doing some cataclysmic damage, and that can also help you bridge the gap on some of the damage deficits that you might endure. If you're fighting Daima Goku and Glorio, you're not doing enough damage. Your physical LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta with a full field of physical orbs might one-shot this guy. I have no idea. I've never tried it, but it could happen. So those are the types of items that you want to be looking into, which basically covers like all of the good ones, but I still wanted to point it out. So those are just some of the ideas that I think you guys could use to have a better chance at approaching this. But again, the number one thing is to just wait. If you don't have the best pieces, just wait. There will be more characters that come out in the future. Those characters can help you, and eventually over time, this event will become easier and easier and easier. And before you know it, you'll be done. So I know that I took a long time explaining all of this stuff, but I really wanted to try to break things down because I will admit, when I first did this, I made a lot of people feel very nervous, and I do apologize. I'm a drama queen. There's no denying it. I'm a drama queen. I'm a maniac, and I was freaking out at this event. But I'm very glad that I did the no item run afterwards, because I was very quick to learn that once I know the event and I can break it down, it's not so bad. It's really just about orb management, balancing the stacking, keeping a level head, and just paying very close attention to how the symmetry is kind of going with all of your characters and their stat progressions, and you will be able to get this done. So hopefully this helps you out. Again, let me actually zoom out so you guys can see this if you want to screen capture it. That should be good right there. There you go. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on my tips and tricks to tackle this event. Is there anything that you disagree with? Are there any other characters? Oh, you know what? There's one more thing that I wanted to show. I didn't actually show yet. Let me go ahead and do that. So let me show you some characters. So again, if you use this popular teams thing, you can see other characters that people use. But let me show you a few that on paper seem like a good idea. So what I've done here is I've put together... this is my winning team up at the top. Down here are some others. So these are characters that I've either seen people win with or just on paper seem like very good options. Broly, believe it or not, I think Mass Ningen won with this, as well as a few other people. Scouter Vegeta is a fantastic unit. This unit is, I believe, currently available on the Daima Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta banner. But if you happen to pull him during your summons, if you summon, great. If not, I wouldn't chase him. Don't summon just for this guy. Also, Tech Super Saiyan Vegeta is going to be very good for this. He doesn't stack greatly, but he does stack a lot. And he is going to be very good because when he transforms into Super Saiyan Vegeta, the less health the enemy has, the more lethal he becomes. He's actually going to be very good. I'm going to be doing this event again with lesser teams just to see how far we can get. I don't think at the moment a team under 220% can conquer the event completely. I don't know, but that's just me guessing. So I think this guy's going to be instrumental in that. Frieza is basically the LR Super Saiyan Goku, but he raises attack. So he will be hitting harder than the Goku, but he might be more of a defensive liability, but he effectively does the same thing. We've also got this guy probably nobody has. This is the LR Goku or Gohan Piccolo Namek Saga unit. When he transforms into Piccolo, he can launch several attacks and he will be stacking attack and defense. Does he do it greatly? Oh, it's only massively. Yeah, so his 18 key is kind of a problem, but yeah, he could be useful. Also, Gohan, classic, right? Greatly raising attack and defense. He's got guard. He's going to be fantastic for this. A few others, I don't know about these. They're sort of maybes. This guy, slot 1, always has guard. He might be useful for you. Gohan, constantly stacking attack. He could be useful for you. Also, he gets 70% chance to dodge. He is kind of a dodge or die unit. If he gets hit, you're done. Same with the Kefla. Kefla also greatly raises attack, but she can stack like crazy. So those are some more maybes. I don't know if they work. These are some characters that I've seen other people win with. Gotenks, LR Gogeta, Royal Blue Vegeta. So again, I'm just trying to give you all the information that I can possibly gather and present to you, and hopefully this helps you guys out. In the future, this video might seem less relevant because more characters have released. The meta has shifted. There's a new hierarchy in terms of the best characters out there. So if that happens, maybe I'll make another video. But hopefully in the meantime, this can do you guys some justice. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on how to approach this event. Do you guys agree with some of my takes? Do you disagree? Where do you agree or disagree? What are some other additional tips that you guys would like to suggest? New players, I would recommend that you guys check out some of the comments down below because we have some very helpful tunes who are constantly helping people out in the comment section and in the Discord, who have some really great ideas that I just simply don't come up with. I'm not playing this game 24/7, but whenever I do, I try to help out how I can. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.